Eremos is more than a name. It's a way of life. It's our sanctuary, our escape from the noise, and our connection to the deeper meaning of our lives. It's about finding joy in the outdoors, seeking growth, and leaving the world a better place than we found it. Welcome to Elevate and Explore, a podcast where we dive into the beauty of nature, self-discovery, and the endless possibilities that come with living intentionally. Welcome to our journey. Hello, everybody. I am Aaron.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the Elevate and Explore podcast, back for another week of unscripted conversations.
Hello, and welcome.
So today, Ryan and I, it's been, a long day, and both of us are a little scatterbrained and not sure exactly what direction to go in. That's okay. That's kind of like life. We don't know exactly where we're going today, but we're here. We're doing it. So that could be a good topic to freaking start. You always have to know what the hell you're doing. Get an idea, get a plan, and just start working towards it. I right now I'm working on building a few businesses, and I have no idea what the hell I'm doing most of the days. But you know what I do? I go to my 9-to-5 job, come home, work on it at night, and just slowly chip away. Some days I get a little more than another night. Some nights I get super frustrated and gotta take a break and lay down, go to bed, walk away from it. And people ask me, where are you at? And I'm not exactly sure, but I know I'm making progress. So, my advice to anybody, if you're working on something, you don't have to know what you're doing. The most important part is just get started. If you have start a little dream in your head, a little vision, and you don't have to have it all figured out. Nobody ever does. People who are super successful, billionaires, they probably still don't even know what they're doing some of the time. So it's just the entrepreneurial spirit. It's just putting out fires, figuring it the hell out, and just going along with it and making stuff happen. Just do it, and things will fall together.
As the previous king of chaos, I found myself in multiple positions across my life. And I don't know that I ever really knew what I was doing, but I never really had time to think about it or figure it out. It was always in essence, a do or die moment. It was, here's the opportunity, here's the worst outcome, and here's the best outcome. And I think Brandon said it best last week, is like, okay, well, the worst outcome is you lose everything and everything's bad and it's all just downhill, or the good is like beyond your wildest dreams and the reality lies somewhere in the middle. I look back on opportunities that I've had, and some of them, probably more than not, have been in the outdoors. It's like something comes up and it's like, hey, let's go do something this weekend. And it just so happens it's book a plane ticket and fly to Alaska, or hop in the truck and drive across the country, or just go out and do something that you probably wouldn't normally do. And while you've got so much stress and anxiety and maybe worry on your mind, it's usually drowned out by the excitement and the eagerness and all these thoughts of opportunity. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can find this. And there has to be a happy balance there somewhere, that, okay, we have to bring our excitement down, but we also have to calm the worry down, and we have to sit there with ourselves. And, sometimes thought leads to some of these states of hesitation, where it's like, okay, well, I need it to be this way, it has to be perfect, it's got to do this, and then before I do anything, it's got to be in this manner. And trying to control a situation like that often just puts you into this state of pause where nothing is happening. And the best thing that you can do in many situations is just come up with a decision, make a choice, go out and try it, do something different. And sometimes it leads us to say things that we don't mean. Sometimes it leads to actions of not doing things that we may not have done in clear headspace, but it opens up the chance to learn and change and grow. Because if you didn't know how to do it at the start, you're certainly not going to be able to do it after you've just been handed everything, you have to struggle. You have to kind of fight for something. You have to deal with some of the stresses and struggles and putting out those fires. And then when the victory comes, it is so much excitement that you finally persevered. You got to the moment you're looking for. If we think back on our deer hunting adventures, it's like hiking up this mountain is going to suck. We know that right from now. And driving down this road is really sketchy, and we probably shouldn't be doing this. And this is an icy road and snow-covered road. Nobody's been down here. What if? Okay, what if we get back there and since nobody's been back here, there's deer all over the place. All right, well, let's try it out. And you get back there, you glass up a couple good bucks, and then all of a sudden you bring one home, and it almost seems as if it was meant to be. So I think, there's a little bit of vagueness there, but the most consistent actions you can take is just making an action, making a plan, knowing that it may change. I'm going to have to deviate. I'm going to have to try something a little different. It's not going to go exactly as planned, but I had a poster on my wall at one point was plan A is to execute the plan. Plan B is to change the plan. Plan C is to throw the plan away. And D is just meant to, succeed anyway. And
Uh-huh.
it was something I typed up one day when everything was going wrong. We were building a wind farm. And it's like, all of this is not what we talked about, but we're still doing it.
I love it.
And it's very relatable, and it's very comforting to know that every single person is going to struggle and have
Hmm.
a challenge and have to fight for something, but you don't know what you're doing now. Keep doing
No.
it and you'll figure it out. You'll learn.
Yeah. And you can try something over and over, and maybe you tried it so many times it's just kind of not going to work. That's okay. Go try something different now. A different road. But now when you're on that new road, you know what not to do from that old road. Um, yeah, it's all about just trying stuff and trying stuff until you find something that works. Nothing's going to happen overnight. It's taking that risk, having that faith, and just going along with it. I just want to go back real quick. You were saying the what ifs. Oftentimes, we're all guilty of it, saying, "Oh, well, what if this doesn't work? What if that?" It's normally all of the negative, what ifs. We all need to start thinking of the positive what ifs. What happens if I do this and I am more successful than I could have ever imagined? What if I do this and everything works out easier than I thought? What if I do this and my life is everything I want it to be? Stop thinking of, you still got to think of some of the negatives, of course, but try and turn a lot of those negatives into what if it does work out. We're all so scared to take these leaps and take these walks of faith and just believe that something's going to work out because we just doubt ourselves. So getting rid of that self-doubt and just think, what if this all works out? Like, what is my life going to look like? It could be everything and more I ever dreamed of. So you never know until you take that chance, and take that chance of not knowing. Like how Brandon said it last week. We kind of just dove into it, and just if it works out, great. If not, I'll do something new. So what if? You never know.
Well, those what if moments of trying to sort through things, it's like, what if you just stay the same? What if you just stay right here for the rest of forever? Is that going to be good enough?
Hmm.
Is that going to make you, satisfied in the end? I think every human being on earth has the sense of adventure. We were born to be nomadic creatures. We were created to be nomadic creatures. At some point, our ancestors had to travel point A to point B for either food or climate or something greater. Like, typically there's animals that stay in one spot and they just find a tree and they live in that tree and they live there forever. Or excuse me, they don't live there forever. They live there for the rest of their lives. They are confined to one area, they are confined to one space, they are confined to one way. But humans were not really meant to do that. So oftentimes, you find people that are I don't want to be judgmental in any way, but we say small towns. Typically a lot of the people in a small town, they stay there because they didn't know that there's anything past the city limit sign.
Hmm.
And it's like once you get past the city limit sign, the proverbial the grass is always greener on the other side. Well, maybe there's more sunlight on the other side, maybe there's more water on the other side, maybe the dirt's better on the other side. So once you get to venture out and try something new and see something different, it brings you a new shift of perspective. And I talked with I think it was my mother, honestly, the other day, just about this. Is I grew up thinking that there's only one way to do something. It's only this way. These are the type of people I have to become. And it's as soon as you move to another area code or halfway across the country, you pick up the habits and traits of other people. And you then do it again, and you pick up those habits and traits of other people. And what starts to happen is you start to see that some of the happier people that you've met are successful. They have happy marriages, they have children, they've got beautiful homes, they've got cars, they've got this dream life. But in no means was it just handed to them. And you start talking to these people and they tell you about, oh, well, I lost everything so many times and then I finally found something that worked.
Hmm.
And it is this opportunity of just give all that you have away to not be in the same position. If you give it all away and it all comes back and you're in the same position, well, now you got all your stuff back and you're nowhere off better than you were. But if you give it all away and you start somewhere fresh, you try something new, you change, you grow, develop new habits and skills, then maybe you get all your stuff back and a whole new mindset on life. Like, not even just mindset on life, just the whole outlook entirely. People can change their appearance, people can change weight, people can change habits, people can change everything as long as they're willing.
Yeah, you can. I was just writing this in my diary a little bit earlier, journal. Um, about change. There's not much about us that we cannot change. We're not. There's certain features. Yes, you can get surgeries and do it, and some things might be harder. But the easiest thing to change, I think, is your mindset. I think we all think it's super complicated, but that's just some of the negativity and mindset that everybody tells us in the outside world. But if you really sit down and think about where you want to be in life, where you want to go, what doesn't serve you, you really know what you should be doing in life. It's just sitting down with yourself, being vulnerable with your mind, and figuring it the heck out. I've struggled a lot with it, and done it a lot over the year. And my mindset from where I was a year ago is amazing. So, changing your mindset, you change your mindset, change your location, change your appearance, change whatever you want. If you're capable of doing it all. But like I said, figure out what you want out of life and make it happen. No one's going to come save you. No one's going to come do it for you. If you really want something, go out and do it. Don't let anybody stop you.
And just to add some context to that, I know it's easier said than done. Change your mindset. Just change your
Yeah.
mindset. Just think differently. But you've lived your entire life thinking one way. It's not just going to happen tomorrow. So
Yeah.
now maybe changing your mindset isn't the best approach. Maybe there's some bad habits I have. Maybe I'll start with changing those. And changing habits is equally as hard. Caffeine addictions, nicotine addictions, you're working your butt off and you don't know what to do next, or eating habits, or just the list of habits that we find ourselves that are either sinful or wrong or we know are bad. We still do it anyway just because
Hmm.
they're habits. um Putting yourself in a place where making new habits is really easy. One of them, I think is always a funny one that it picked up on me, is like you have to uh, try something new and you want to do something different. So whatever it is I'm doing now has to be very close to what it is that I'm doing differently. A great example of this is brushing your teeth. If you're having a hard time brushing teeth, then put your toothbrush in the shower, because more often than not, you're going to shower every day. And
Hmm.
if you just have it there close to you, it's like, I'm going to go sit on the couch. Well, putting a mini fridge full of beer next to the couch is not ideal. Put a fridge full of, I don't know, energy drinks to start, or maybe it's soda, or maybe at that time it's juice, and then you trickle the water, and start changing them small incrementally with what you can handle. And then the last thing is, if you can't change your habits, you can't change your mindset, you're struggling with everything, go find one person that you aspire to be like. Go find one person who lights you up and you're happy and excited around. And I will tell you right now, I'll tell this in front of everybody, that Aaron Baker, my best friend of, a decade now, has always been one of those people that I turn to try and, habituate change. And how do I be more like Aaron? Well, I have to talk nicer to people. I have to dress a little nicer. I gotta walk with some pride and energy. And we've said it multiple times in the podcast, but Aaron, how are you today?
Absolutely, positively fantastic.
If you ever find yourself, complaining about how the day was, and you just happen to call somebody and he tells you, you know, today is absolutely wonderfully positively fantastic, you're going to think, is this guy on? And then you call him again and he does it. And you call him a third time, he does it. And after some point, you're like, life is absolutely wonderfully positively fantastic. And it's getting around somebody. And if you can't immediately draw that type of habit and persona from a person, just act like them. Act like somebody different. Don't act like yourself. And I don't mean that in a way of, go out and try to be somebody you're not. But if you're trying to get into a habit of growth and change and you want to do different things, the easiest thing you can do is mimic somebody. First off, it's a very
Mhm.
kind gesture to try and want to be like somebody else. And also, if they've done it, chances are you can do it. So if the person is a successful business owner and they have lots of wealth and they have a family and they have all this stuff and they have a great positive attitude and maybe they're very generous and they're constantly giving, it is naturally going to make you a more generous and giving person. If you get around somebody who's very spiteful, hateful, and rude, there's a very good chance that you are going to be spiteful, hateful, and rude.
Oh, heck yeah. So before I want to go add on to that, but I want to jump back real quick. It's back to when you were talking about making small changes. So something I've been struggling with lately, and yes, making small changes is much easier than making one big change at a moment. So something I've been struggling with for a little while here is a simple thing is getting out of the freaking bed in the morning. When the alarm goes off, my phone would always sit on my nightstand. Well, alarm would go off. All right, I'm gonna snooze it for 20 minutes. 20 minutes go by, goes off again. Next thing I know, it's a freaking hour later. Now I'm running late, and I was like, I did that for weeks, and I was like, this needs to stop. So I did the simple thing of taking my phone or taking my charger, plugging it at the end of my bed on the other wall that I physically have to get out of bed to go turn it off. Now, when I first started doing that, I'd still grab it and crawl back in bed for a little bit, maybe be on my phone, maybe fall back asleep for 20 minutes, but it was no longer this hour. So it was a little improvement. Now, fast forward 2 weeks, that wasn't fully working. So I have these big freaking post-it notes in my apartment that I put all sorts of information on. Well, I put one right where my phone is plugged in. It says, wake up, do your meditation, do your yoga, drink water, do your affirmations. So when I get up to get my phone, I see this thing that's yelling at me. Now, since I did that, now I'm getting out of bed every morning. So it's making these little tiny changes. You can do that for anything in your life. Just figure out what the problem is and find a simple solution to start making that challenge easier.
It's not
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that it's not the post-it note talking to you, it's Aaron talking to
It's my
Aaron.
yes.
And it's bringing that self-awareness that this is me, this is who I am. I'm going to get up out of bed early. I'm going to be this person. I'm going to be motivate myself.
Yes, exactly. You said exactly right. It's me. It's not a piece of paper telling me I wrote the words. It's so I feel it that much more rather than if it was a poster made by Joe Schmo, cool looking poster. No, it's my crappy handwriting on the wall that I see myself telling me myself to get the hell up, go do what I got to do, take action. um, so going back a little bit to surrounding yourself with people. Um, that's if you don't know what direction to go or you want to grow yourself, find people who are where you want to be or on their path to where you want to be. Something that I've been very, very intentional about the past 3 months. I go out at least once a week, whether it's to the high-end bar or to a networking event. Like this week I have 3 networking events. Last week I had a few. And it may not even be for any profession that I'm even interested in or anything I'm chasing. I just go to everything. And I've just, at each event, I meet at least one person that, there's something in common with, or they know somebody that could help me, and just having these amazing conversations and just um, start telling my story of things I've overcome. And you find that people like, oh my God, I had a similar situation, or, I'm struggling with this right now. And you realize that we're all the same, you know, that we all have challenges. Yes, they may look super successful, but they're struggling. They have this challenge right now. They overcame this, this and that. So going out and talking to people, you realize you're not in this alone. And there's so many people out there that are willing to help you. All you got to do is go and ask. A lot of people, you might not fit in with them. That's okay. Have your small talk and move on to the next person, and just keep going around till you find someone you click with, and start creating a network and start just talking to people. So I think the most important thing in life is creating a community around you of like-minded people that you can reach out to in times of need, that you can bounce business ideas off, you can bounce personal ideas off, you can just go out and get ice cream together, something, just live life together. So creating a community of valuable people around you is, I think, one of the best things you can do.
It's the most immediate way to change your environment. Just the past couple weeks, I took your word for it, and it's like, okay, I can come home from work, sit, relax, do my work from home, and finally, it's like I can only work from home from so much. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's depleting after a while, and you do it long enough, there's a lot of enjoyment from it, but there's also a lot of downfall. So it's like, okay, I'm just gonna go get dinner tonight, and when you walk in to go get dinner, and the first thing on your mind is, I'm going to find three people to talk to. And I'm going to go just talk to three people. I don't have to have conversations. I just need to say, hello, how are you? Did you have a good day? Start the conversation off small. And if it clicks, it clicks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You will know relatively quickly if that person's going to be interested in having a conversation. Um, and I went out for chicken wings, and I don't remember, I think I was walking into the place, and I just happened to, kind of bump somebody, and we talked, and I had like a 10-minute conversation with this guy. He was a younger gentleman who was going to college, and he was looking to be a sports media, sports marketing and media professional, and that he wanted to have his own business. He wanted to work for a couple companies and gain some experience and then go out on his own. And we started talking, and we just went through the whole gamut. And by the end of the story, he was telling me about his hunting stories with his grandfather, and he just told me a lot more about his life than I had bargained for.
Mm-hmm.
Couple weeks ago, or I guess it was last week, I went down to the river to go fly fishing, and I'm not a professional fly fisherman by any stretch. I'm actually still learning. It's one of those new things, is rather than just sitting at home, I'm going to go learn something new. And I went down and I met a guy, and we started talking, and then he's sharing tips and tricks, and opened it up, and he's showing me how to do stuff, and he gave me some lure, some flies, and we just had a great time talking. I didn't even pay attention to fishing. And then afterwards, I got his number. We started talking a little bit. And then now every couple of days, he's like, hey, I'm going down the river. If you want to join, just, let me
Yeah.
know. And he's not even asking to go. He's just throwing out just a kind, welcome invitation. And it's like, there are so many good people out there. For so long in my life, I thought I hated people. I thought I didn't want to be around people. I thought people sucked. And, all this. I think I said it best to you earlier. I was sitting in traffic, and I was so aggravated by the people. And then you're like, just enjoy the day, sit and enjoy the time, look at the sunrise. And it's like, I hate when you're always right. You when you start to see the good in things, you start to see the good in people, you will find more of that. Sitting in traffic, I made it home safe. I didn't have any worries. I had a full tank of gas and nothing to worry about. So I had a good call with a couple people, and came home, have our podcast, and I think I'm in much better spirit. I think that there's a consistent pattern here. The more we talk and the more we have the podcast, the more uplifted I am. So we're gonna have to switch to 2 podcasts a week.
We can do that possibly. Absolutely. Um, but another thing I was just thinking of, with going out and talking to people, when I first started doing it, I sucked. This goes back to, you're going to suck at everything at first. You got to be willing to suck. You got to be willing to look stupid. I was terrible at communicating. I'd go out to these networking events and I'd be so nervous and this and that. And I would have no idea what to say to people. And I would just stumble over my words. I couldn't remember people's names, just everything that everybody struggles with. And just doing this over and over, I am amazed. The simple things of remembering people's names. I always used to say I suck at it. Now I say I'm good at it. I'm still not great, but I changed my mindset. I'm good at it. And once I told myself I'm good at it, I am remembering probably 75% of the people's names I talk to, where it used to be, call it 10 to 25%. So it's going to help you with so many things, just going out. Communication skills is one of the most important things you can have in life, I feel like. So it's really going to help your communication skills. And eventually, if you want to get up on stages, it's going to help you be more of a leader, be able to get up and talk in front of people. So the more you go out and talk to new people and take that risk, you're going to look dumb sometimes. You got to be okay with it. That's okay. So yeah, it's more than just going out and meeting people. There's a lot of other aspects that go along with going out and talking to people.
Most of our skills are muscle memory. If you
Mm-hmm.
think about, going and go to the, end of your driveway and pick up a rock, and the next week pick up a bigger rock and keep picking, it's only going to grow the more you use it. Much like faith, much like our physical muscles, any skill you learn is muscle memory, and it is the communication skill. And to your point about remembering names, I will look somebody dead in the face, hear their name, couple seconds go by, I completely forgot. And it's embarrassing because it's like, hey, what was
Yes.
your name again? What was your name again? You said your name was what? Oh, can you just write your name in my phone and just put your name in there? And you have to ask somebody with their name. Now they're disrespected because you've had to ask repeatedly. One thing I've been doing recently is you go to the gas station, you go to the local, restaurant, just think of wherever you go, they are wearing name tags. And people have name tags on their shirts almost everywhere you go as part of the business. And if you look somebody in the face, call them by their first name before they even tell it to you, and then somebody tells you their name, you are so much more likely to remember it. It has been, there's like 4 or 5 people just this past week. They called me. I have no idea what their face looks like. I have almost no idea what their voice looks like because the phone, it's just through the phone call. And I have never seen them, but I know exactly who they are when they call me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Keith, how are you? Hey, Tony. Hey, Tom. Hey, whatever. Those names, again, it's that communication side. It's a little bit respect. It's so much in there. And then, the other piece about communication is it is our livelihood. We think of dogs, we think of, pets in the home. They communicate with us. They need attention. They need to be around us. They put their paws on us. They'll rub their head on it. They are constantly giving us communication. So then when we go to work, we hide behind a computer screen and we email back and forth. And somebody says something harsh, and you're like, oh, well, this guy's just being a dick because that's the way the words looked, right? And it's like that's very easy to get in this pattern of, kind of uh, abusing your communication. And it's sometimes like, okay, I'm not going to respond to that in an email. Let me just call them quick, or let me just go over to their desk real quick. Let me talk to them first, get their side of it right, and then I'll respond. And sometimes, uh, anything that we're doing communication wise, it always helps to try and write some of your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and words down, and then go to the person. Because the last thing you want to do is you want to go out and disrupt somebody's perfect day with something silly and stupid because you were in the wrong state of mind and you didn't think about your words. You didn't choose, you didn't make an intentional decision to talk to them in the right manner.
Yeah. Like the emails you're saying, and for all you could just be misinterpreting what that tone in that email was. There's so much lost in the digital communication, whether it be texting, emailing, Facebook chat, whatever. To have a real good, authentic conversation, you got to have that face to face. Even a Zoom is better than just talking on the phone. Talking on the phone is great. That's better than texting. Unfortunately, a lot of people anymore, they only want to text. They only want to email. But you can easily misconstrue something in an email or text just based on the way that they typed it, and to them it sounds super happy. But when you read it, it sounds like, oh, this guy's pissed at me, or he's a dick, or this or that. So that's I definitely have seen that challenge with a lot of people. I know a lot of people struggle with that. So it's kind of getting back to that face to face or a phone call. You'll go back to the old ways. It's so much better. And real quick, I'm so happy you said about the name tags. So I've been doing that for years, and people would always make fun of me, like, "Oh, why are you calling the person at the at 7-Eleven? You know, why are you saying, oh, hey, Marie, how are you?" That little thing, you have no idea what that person's going through. And that simple thing of, hey, Marie, how are you doing? I just, as soon as you walk up, I glance at the name tag. Hey, how was your day? How are you doing? And most of the times, they're always like, how do you know my name? Like, they don't say it, but you can see in their face that they're like, how the hell do you know my name? And I've had people ask me sometimes, well, how do you know my name? They'll literally ask me, I was like, you're wearing a name tag. But it gives these, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish.
It gives a little spark into people's days, and just, you know, I try and treat everybody the same, whether you're a Fortune 500 CEO or you're a freaking janitor. We're all important. We all have something to offer to this world, and you know, go to the restaurant, call the, you know, look at the lady's name tag, the guy's name tag, and say, hey, how are you doing, Frank? And that can help you remember names as well. But it's just those little things in life that you can do to just improve someone else's day, and it's going to make you feel good too. You know, you're seeing you put that smile on someone else's face, it's going to make you smile back, and then someone that's sitting with you, they're probably going to smile and chuckle too. So it just spreads, and then they could go home, oh my god, there was this guy today, he intentionally called me out and asked me how my day was, blah blah blah. You have no idea how that little thing can make an impact on someone's day. So I always try to be intentional with those simple things in life. Those little things make a big impact on yourself and the people around you.
It's, you know, 100% respect and appreciation. You know, if you go up to the gas station and, you know, this person's just pumping out lottery tickets and checking stuff out all day, it's very mundane, and nobody ever thinks about them. Like, you know, it's another human being, it's another person. You know, show them love and kindness just the way that you'd expect to be treated. That's one of the golden rules of life. You know, treat others as if you would want yourself to be treated. So when you go up and you call them by their first name, you're, you know, treating them, they're more than just the cashier, they're more than just the waitress, they're more than just the bartender. They are a human being. And it is okay, now you got it in their head that you're a nice person and they are in the position of service. So it's like you go to the bar, or you go to the restaurant, and you're like, I want 10 chicken wings and I want them this way, and just bring them out as quick as you can, I'm hungry. Or, hey, how's your day? Did you have a good day? What's your favorite food on the menu? Start talking a little bit of conversation. You'd be amazed at how fast the service has improved. And it's not, just a bargaining tool, but it's truth and honesty. It's like if you're, say a restaurant owner, would you rather your waitress go out and just talk to somebody as if, they're just some fly on the wall, or hey, this is a human being, go out and treat them with respect and kindness? Why, Chick-fil-A, everything is my pleasure. It is the ultimate servitude to your customer, because they are the bread and butter of your business. That is the person who brings you, your livelihood.
Yeah. Another thing I was just thinking, a lot of us are habitual. We have habits. We do think we go to the same places. So think of a store you've got into a million times. You've seen that same person day in, day out, and you've never stopped to say, hey, Francine, how are you doing today? It's just a transaction, and we just treat these people as just a cog in the wheel and not as a person. So when we turn that person to build that, when we put personability into it, it changes the whole thing. And then maybe someone in line, behind you checking out, maybe they see this and they start doing that, and it can just be a chain reaction. So like, I encourage anybody who's gone to a Wawa or a Sheetz or a gas station, you see the same person every day, but you never asked how their day was. I encourage you, next time you go, just, hey, how are you doing today? My name's Aaron. I know I've seen you a million times, so just wanted to say hi. and just see how it goes. I mean, there's probably going to be some people just like, yep, don't care, get your shit, get out. But you'll be amazed at the conversation that could possibly come out of it, and then next time they see you, like, hey, how are you doing? It's
I think
just
one of the, in that context, it, just came across my mind. It's like one of the biggest bomb drops is how you treat others is how you treat yourself.
mm-hmm.
If you're disrespectful and rude to others and you don't treat them with love, care, and kindness, then you're probably not loving and caring and kinding for yourself, being kind to yourself.
Yes, 100%. That kind of falls into that self-love thing, and been doing it so much more since I really learned to love myself. I don't know if that's a topic that I really delved into yet, but anymore, I base just about everything I do off of the self-love. I think mindset, growth, your physical appearance, how you treat other people. I think it all comes down to how you see yourself and how you treat yourself, how you love yourself.
That's everything. I mean, you're the person that's with yourself more than anybody,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you might as well enjoy it.
yeah. No, it's been a very big realization for me over the past few months, and I've been working on myself, working on my mindset, and doing this and becoming a genuinely better person. But one day I realized, I was standing in the mirror and just like, man, I love where I'm at. I love my life. There's not really anything I can complain about. I am content with myself. I'm proud of myself. I love myself. And like, I think that was the first time I ever said it. And that felt really cool. And then since then, I just been pouring my self love into everything I do. And that's what I've been preaching to, people to really learn to love yourself. We only get one go at this, and why not freaking love ourselves? All of us, talk down on ourselves and think we're not capable of this and that, and it's terrible for our inner being. It just brings us down when we talk down on ourselves. So, not saying boast or be super prideful, but just learn to authentically appreciate who you are as a human being.
Absolutely. I mean, I think in this podcast, we've even said it multiple times about just some of my mental frustrations with who I am, where I've been, what I've been doing. And finally, you just get to a point where you accept that, okay, this is what I have to offer. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. This is who I want to be with. This is where I'm going. And when you start that intentional type living and planning and trying to prioritize things, you are now putting yourself on this pedestal that you are worthy, you are valuable, you do deserve. And now you look good, you feel good, you smell good, you talk well, you can go out and approach people and people like you and people want to talk to you, and then you get people's phone numbers and now they're wanting to talk to you, and it's just this ever so fulfilling adventure of
Hmm.
you know look where I've been and look where I'm at now.
Yeah,
And there is absolutely nothing wrong with just being in one position and just staying afloat. But when you realize that there's so much more potential, you
yeah.
deserve so much more than you've been given, or so much more than you've had, rather. But not everything is given to us. It puts us in this state where now it's fun, it's exciting, things are to be enjoyed, and you can savor the moment, and you can take some moments to give appreciation. You can find patience in, okay, it's not perfect right now, but it's a heck of a lot better than where I was, and I know in time it will only continue to get better.
Hmm. Yeah, it's all about loving your journey. Not being ashamed of where you came. We got to start somewhere. Whatever challenges, whatever self-doubt, whatever lack of self-love, however badly we might have treated someone in the past. Well, we learn from that. We grow from that. We figure out what we really want out of life, and it's this whole thing of us floating around the sun year after year. It's all a journey. It's all just appreciating every part of it. There's always going to be good parts, there's going to be bad parts, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be amazing times. So stop and smell the roses. And yes, you can have dreams and aspirations and you're on that road, but don't forget to stop and just look around and enjoy where you're at this moment, and take it all in and love it.
Absolutely.
And then the self-love thing, I've had one more thing I wanted to say about that. Oh, in the self-love, you started talking about being around other people, so that kind of goes to the networking thing. um, when you love yourself, you start to gain this confidence, and you just care. Like everywhere I go, it just carries it with me, and I just have this energy, and it just this energy is being put out into the world, and the people I want to be around are being attracted to me. Like I have, it used to be a lot more of me going up and approaching someone and starting the conversation. I've been finding lately, since I've been diving much more into that self-confidence and self-love, that now I'm starting to have more people come to me. So it's really neat, just the self-love. It goes into, pours into so many aspects of your life. It's so valuable.
I need to send you that book I read on the 9 laws and the law of attraction and these other laws. I can't think right now because again I'm scatterbrained driving all day. But um, you put yourself in a position to accept an opportunity. If you see it and you believe it and you know it and you're working towards it, it is
Book of Nines.
okay. So yes, um, you're still recording.
Yes, it's recording.
Okay. Some technical difficulties here. I think I just got cut off there for a minute. Um, just talking about the book of these 9 laws and talking about attraction and spirituality and putting this belief out there that if you have faith in something and that you believe it's going to happen, you can see it's going to happen, it's only a matter of time before it comes true. It's almost near impossible that if you're working towards something and you have belief and you have this the sense of it's coming to me rather than I'm going to chase it. you know I give anybody out there full range of motion to try and go chase a wild turkey across any surface or terrain, and the more you chase, the less it's going to happen. But if you try and attract, things may just work in your favor. It's only a matter of time. um you make so many good points on the self-love piece, and it's just realizing that you've only got one mind, you've got one body, you've got one heart, and the more that you're taking care of it, the more that you're feeding into it, and the more that you're putting intentional thought into your decisions, and that it's not a good or bad decision, it's a good or bad choice after the decision. You're not just going to make a decision and everything's going to be better. You're still going to have a series of choices. But if I decide tomorrow I'm going to quit my job and move across the country, and I'm just gonna go do it, and I'm gonna go out and just live this you know granola, so to say, type lifestyle where everything is just perfect and magic, and I don't have to do anything, and everything's gonna come to me. You may find that it works that way, but you also may find that it's a little bit more struggle and hardship than you were expecting. And if I say, okay, well, tomorrow I'm gonna quit my job, but I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna figure some things out, and I'm gonna build up this foundation for me to jump off of. But by the time that happens, now you're almost set up for success. You have some plans, you have some thoughts, you've got your new skills, you got your mind together, you've got these very consistent actions and good habits behind you. That's only going to help fuel that. Um, I quit a business. I just completely gave up. I said, I can't do this anymore. This is not for me. This is just not working. It is not feeding me positivity. It is not feeding me good energy. And quite honestly, it was just more stress than it was enjoyment. And I said, okay, here's the deadline. And then from the deadline to next year, this time, I've got a couple months. And in those couple months, I'm going to figure myself out. I'm going to create a plan. I'm going to change some habits. I'm going to come up with a new belief and a new plan. And I'm just going to do that. And when I started my new business, it almost immediately took off the ground and I enjoyed doing it. And I met so many good people with that mindset of I'm going to chase something and pursue something that I love doing and that gets me excited to go do, rather than something that just belittles me, disrespects me, doesn't fuel what I'm actually trying to accomplish in life.
Yeah, so there you took a negative and turned it into a positive. I don't want to say it was a failure. You didn't fail at it. You just realized that wasn't what you wanted to do. You changed your gears, you realigned your mindset and tried to figure out what you do want to do. So again, that's all part of this journey, this learning experience of, well, I tried this. Well, that's not for me. Well, you're not any further behind. You're not any further ahead. Now take that as that learning experience. I think oftentimes too many people, might have been in a similar situation to you, and just like, this isn't ever going to work out. I'm never going to be able to work for myself. I'm never going to be able to do anything myself. And they go back to the old ways of going back and working for somebody else and, leaving their dreams behind. Whereas you just like, all right, this wasn't the path. I'm not done yet. I know I can figure this out. So let's go down this road. And here you are, working at it, doing freaking great. What is it? 2 years later now, 3 years later now. And
2 years.
yeah, so it's all just you've made a change, had faith, and went after it, and it's working out for you.
Yeah. I mean, wholeheartedly just having faith in something and seeing that dream, seeing that picture, knowing and almost being able to taste it, but just not being able to reach it. And, it was not any easier. It still has its moments, and everything that we're going to do in life is going to be a struggle, an uphill battle. Just because you have $1 billion company, there's going to be a day where you get one charge or one letter in the mail, and now all of a sudden next week you can't figure out payroll, and your payroll is larger than you can even imagine. It happens all the time, and when we're confronted with these situations, it's not panic mode. It is sit back, know the immediate course of action in your mind or your heart that you know that you can accomplish and push through something. And then, okay, we learned, we survived, we got through it. Try something a little different. What do we need to do to not make that happen again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, learn from your mistakes and try not to recreate them. Another thing that I found that works for me is, and some people are hesitant to it, but I feel like every once in a while you got to take a break. When you're having really freaking hard times, don't be afraid to stop for a day or two, and it's not gonna end your freaking journey. It's just, we all need to decompress and take breaks from things sometimes. Maybe even you might even need a week. Maybe you might need a month. That's I think that's for you to decide, and I know you'll figure it out, whoever you are watching this. But it's making sure you get back onto it. And while you're on that break, take that time to reevaluate or just work that vision in your head instead of working on the computer and trying to build this or trying to build that. Use it as time to kind of more think. Go out and be at peace. Go out in nature. Go do your happy thing. Go play tennis. Go ride your bike. Whatever. But have it in the back of your mind and use that time as a little bit of critical thinking time, and to also take some time to just not think about it as all at all as well. Don't feel guilty about taking a break. That's needed. Nobody can work 24/7, 7 days a week. That's how you burn yourself out, and that's how you lose steam. So every once in a while, you got to have those breaks. So don't beat yourself up for needing the break, and you'll know when you need it. You'll know. I've been finding that there's just some days like, all right, not today.
Oh, there's so many things you do. You can try your absolute hardest to figure it out, and then you're getting frustrated, and then there's panic, and then there's this. And it's like, okay, stop, collect myself, sit here, try and just, get back into that original moment of excitement, enjoyment that I had going into it. And then
Mhm.
within a few minutes, you figure it out. Um, I mean, for the people that find it relatable, it's everything from, doing a puzzle and not figuring out that one piece fits. It's getting a piece of equipment stuck in some mud and it just absolutely buried. It's, a breakdown in your car on your way to work. It's trying to type up a letter for, or an email. And there's so many things that we just sometimes need to stop, sit, and think, reevaluate a little bit, put ourselves back in line with what we're going after, and seeing it so crystal clear. Write it down,
Mhm.
print out pictures, put it down in there, and make it so clear that you see it for yourself, that it is coming to you. It's on its way. You need to settle and be patient, and whatever. Just continue to put in the work.
Yeah,
There's. Go ahead.
the seeing it clear thing. So I found for me is, I just get frustrated, not even frustrated, just I need to take a break. And I'm not clear minded, and I almost start to do more damage than I'm doing good. So you need those healthy breaks. Maybe all it is, all right, it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to bed. Me spending another hour isn't going to change a freaking thing. And you wake up the next morning, you hop on it tomorrow night, and what you've been struggling with for hours, it could just click in, a short 5 minutes. So going into things more clear minded instead of just all this frustration of just trying to make something work and forcing it. It kind of goes back to the chasing, trying to force something. Take that break, and overnight, next day, the following day, your mind will just click and be like, oh crap, this is what I need to do. This is where I was trying to go. So yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it takes time. There's no, we can sit here and talk about it till ourselves are blue. And until somebody gets in that moment and lives it and struggles with it and fights for it, there is a sense of surrender. At some point, you either just have to say, enough is enough. It is, you know, the split in the road. It's this way or it's this way. And if I do this, this is the best, this is the worst. On this way, this is the best and the worst. And when you have these, four choices in front of you now, it seems almost too much. How can I choose? But you then have to sit and think a little bit harder and what's in your heart, what's on your mind, what's in your soul, what is good for the, you know, most likely outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everything is guaranteed. Success is not guaranteed. While it is a pattern and it is repeatable and it can be, predetermined, it takes a lot of thought and a lot of planning and a lot of consideration and downright it's a lot of mental energy, it's a lot of creative energy, it's a lot of emotional intelligence, it's a lot of, you know this was in the past, that's what we experienced then, that's not what I want, let's try something a little different, put it into the reality now. And if we keep doing these simple steps, which ones are the most likely, the most rewarding? Now, I always referred to it as four square. Aaron finally learned a little bit and was able to teach what that actually is called.
The Jahari's window.
See, I already forgot. I didn't have a name tag. So the Johari's window is prioritization of what means the most, what you enjoy, what doesn't mean a lot to you, what you don't enjoy. And then, just evaluating that in four quadrants and start sorting pieces. And, to refer back to the puzzle, when we're in the moment, you don't just put a puzzle together by dumping it out on the floor and start slapping things together. You got to see what you're working with. You have to put your
Mm-hmm.
pieces, put all the edge pieces off to one side, all this color on the other side. And that's how life works. And if the picture that you're coming out with on your puzzle doesn't align with the pieces you have, we got to do something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe we have things in the wrong piles, and we start building it, and this isn't going to work. Well, look back, look back at the bigger picture, reevaluate. All right, start slowly piecing things back together. Maybe you have to do that 5, 10 times 20 times till you get the freaking whole overall picture developed. So it's all. I really like that analogy of a puzzle. That's kind of what life is. It's just putting all these pieces of puzzle together to create the big picture of what we really want out of life.
I used to refer to it as you dug yourself a giant hole and you have to find all the sticks to build yourself a ladder.
Yes.
But the puzzle is a little bit more elegant.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both great examples. The latter one, you used that a few weeks ago. I really like that one too. Hadn't heard that one before. Yeah, I mean, it's this life is amazing, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. At the end of the
Well,
day, I think.
there is a
Go
right
ahead.
and wrong way to do it.
Well,
It's
I mean, you can go through life being a piece of shit, excuse my language, or you could go through life being a good, genuine human being and, you know, it's all comes down to decisions, and you kind of got to reap what you sow. If you constantly make bad decisions, well, you can't complain when you have nothing but bad outcomes. You're stuck in bad situations. Everywhere you are in life. I mean, kind of except for when you're a kid, you're kind of pushed into boxes where you grow up or where your parents put you or not. But as you become an adult, we have a free will. We have our own decisions that we can make. And where we're at in life, you can kind of look back and see, well, I made this decision and that decision. That's where I am now. All right, well, where do I want to go in the future? All right, well, I probably have to make this decision, that decision, that decision. Maybe that'll get me close. You'll get me on that path. So let me make those decisions over the next couple of years. And all right, well, let's reevaluate. What decisions did I make that were right to where I wanted to be? What decisions did I make wrong? All right, reevaluate. Let's do this differently now. So it's all about making. They don't have to be the right decisions. It's just the decisions you make, living with them and correcting them along the way. If that makes sense.
It's aligning yourself with a goal. I mean,
Yeah,
put a goal out in front of you, and if it doesn't meet the goal, then it's not meant to be. If you don't know what the goal is, it's hard to make the right decision. If you are making decisions and expecting the goal to come to you, maybe it works. It's, walk in faith and the work and effort and everything that you put towards it. But at the end of the day, if you don't know what you're shooting towards and you don't know the roadmap to get
yeah,
there, it's going to be a lot harder than it needs to be.
sure. Yeah, and like I said before, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to know exactly what your highest self is going to be, but you have a pretty good idea of where you want to go. And I would encourage everyone to try and find purpose in something. So when you have purpose behind something, something higher than yourself, something that you truly believe, this is what I need to do with my life to make the world a better place, it's going to make the journey a little bit easier. It's not just, oh, I want this fancy mansion, I want this fancy car, I want to be with this supermodel, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking something purposeful, like I want to one day create a foundation to give back to inner city kids. I want to create this or that to improve people's lives. I want to have the best outdoor gear company so I can provide the most top quality gear so people are comfortable when they're out and about. Um, it's all about just finding something that gives you purpose, not just floating around and, oh, I'm just doing this for the money. You can do that, but I encourage you not to. It's going to be much rewarding if you do something you have that just makes your insides feel happy, makes your soul feel happy, it makes other people around you happy. Remember that it's not just you on this journey, it's creating a better community around you.
Being a good role model, it's being a good image,
Yeah,
if you are a friend or a mother, a brother, a sister, a father, you even uncles and aunts, nieces and nephews, whoever you are, you're out there just giving it the bare minimum, the expectation is going to be the bare minimum. If you hold a high standard and you know what you will tolerate and you know what you will refuse, it becomes a much more impressionable type person that people want to be like you. And that is where the good and kindness and generosity is going to be spread. You know, it's contagious. It just, if you put yourself around good people and you choose to make good choices and good actions, then chances are the people around you are going to make good choices and have good actions.
certainly. Yeah, you're going to attract the right people. And also at the same point along the journey, that is, I don't want to say a bad part, but it's just part of the journey that you're going to, once you start elevating yourself and finding purpose and chasing your dreams and goals and growing, there's going to be some people that have been in your life, maybe it family, maybe it friends, that you just don't align with you or serve your journey anymore. And that's okay. That, I used to think like, oh no, I got to hang on to everybody and, try and bring everybody along with me. And yeah, there's some people that you could probably coax them and, show them how you've grown and show them how they can grow, and maybe they'll be apt to it and you'll come along. But one thing I've learned that I heard really well from somebody is you can try and help elevate people, but you cannot carry people. You can't, because when you're carrying people, they're going to slow you down. They're going to drag you down. It's kind of like going out to save somebody that's drowning. Typically, if there's somebody drowning, you jump out with anything to save yourself. They're going to start pushing you down under the water. And that's kind of what it is when you're carrying somebody. They're just going to drag you down from where you're trying to go. So I'm all for helping people, 100%. But you can't put everything you're doing on pause constantly. Every once in a while, you might have to. But help, but don't carry.
Absolutely. We learned that from the Titanic.
Yeah, it's I don't know. What else you got on your mind?
Not a whole lot. I'll be honest. I think this was refreshing, and it's always a good conversation. We have a lot of good takeaways. I think there's lots in each episode to refer back to. I think there's a lot that we have left to discuss, and the people that we bring on the podcast offer so much more light and credibility to just how exciting life's journey can be with some intention behind it. And friendships, relationships, work life, it all is temporary in the grand scheme of things. Why not make it the absolute best that we possibly can?
Yes. That's what I try and tell everybody. I mean, why not make it the best outcome as possible? Why not reach for the freaking stars? Get rid of the negative, or the limiting beliefs. Believe that you're capable of anything. If you want to be a freaking rock star, go be a rock star. If you want to be an astronaut, go be an astronaut. You want to own all the real estate, go do it. It's all possible. It's just what's up here that stops us, and unfortunately, other people's negative mindset, the wrong people we're surrounding ourselves with. So, go out, elevate yourself, go read mindset books, watch motivational videos, just do anything you can to help grow your mindset and your self-love. That's where your journey is going to start.
Elevate and explore.
That's right.
All right. Well, my light is fading fast.
Yes.
It's getting dark here, and I've got 2 hungry dependents I need to take care of. So I appreciate the conversation. It's always fruitful, and we look forward to everybody on the next episode.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And as always, feel free to give us feedback. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, wherever. Even if you have negative feedback, we're happy to hear everything. And if there's any way we can make an impact on your life and help you a little bit, feel free to reach out. We wanna help it where we can. So have a great night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.